welcome back to Skyboys.
Sky fans. That's what we should call it.
Sky fans. Sailing fans, Sky fans.
Skyboys conquer the East Coast, Part 3.
We did conquer it. Conquer!
We did conquer it.
So yeah, we thought it'd be fun to do some cockpit audio. It's always more fun in the plane.
Absolutely.
So I believe, you'll just make sure I'm on the right track.
Yep.
That we have landed in Sydney.
We just landed in Sydney. Well, no, we did just land in Sydney. But now it's the next day.
Yeah, it's the last video.
Yep.
So we wake up in Sydney, on the harbor, on the water. Ta-da!
We saw the giant cruise ship out there.
Yeah.
Took a little walk around. It was a gorgeous day.
The big fiddle.
We went and saw the big fiddle, some statues.
We went through like a, what was it?
A market kind of building.
Yeah, market.
I think it was more meant for when the cruise ships come in, with all the little shops and stuff.
For sure. And they had all the little vendors and that with their arts and crafts and jewelry and books and you name it.
Yep.
Clothing. And yeah, it was a nice day, but we saw weather coming in, didn't we? And we realized if we didn't actually leave Sydney, which wasn't the plan that day, if we didn't leave Cape Breton, we were going to get trapped out there for 2 or 3 days.
Well, and we wanted to go see the Cabot Trail area before we headed it back into Halifax again. So we were trying to time it so that we could go up the opposite way, circle around the Cabot Trail, see what's going on, and then head back to Halifax. And it looked like we were going to have enough time. Yeah,
and I remember we were looking at the price of renting cars, and it was like $200 or $300 a day.
Right.
And we're like, forget that. We have an airplane. We're gonna let's do that.
Let's see it a different way.
Scenic.
Meal was?
Yeah, we had that nice Reuben sandwich. Yeah, that was a nice in-flight meal.
That was served to us by ourselves. We're gonna have to get a flight attendant on Flight Dougie.
That would be cool. Although it was the best in-flight meal I think I've ever had. Like, I'm sorry, you don't get a toasted Reuben like that with fries on any airline that I've ever been on.
That's true.
So I'm sorry, Skyboys got it going on.
We do it right.
So we do it. Living large.
Okay, so then we were heading back into Halifax.
Yeah, we crossed over at Port Hawkesbury again there into the mainland again, near Tracadie, Antigonish, the North Shore. It was beautiful, and not a long flight back to Halifax, but when we were getting back to Halifax, just the last few miles, the weather, rain was coming into
low cloud,
Stanfield again, wasn't it?
Poor visibility. Yeah, we were getting into it. We didn't get a lot of footage of this section because we were both working. The 2-pilot crew really helped in that bad weather scenario because Pope could focus on flying and I could work the navigation tools and the radio and kind of split the load, which is like the best it could be. So there was no stress. We were fine. Tower wanted us to actually give way to another aircraft that was going to be coming in, a larger aircraft.
He had to say no,
and we had to say, sorry, negative tower, the visibility is just getting too bad. We need to come in direct. So he cleared us straight in, and we got in, and everything was great.
Everything was great. And we toured in, and then I remember us getting parked and getting out of Doug there and going into the terminal. I look around, and here's this Citation jet, and it even had the same colors as Doug, and I just thought, well, I don't see that every day. So I turned around and snapped a picture that you see here, and then it turns out Bill Burr was on that plane.
Yes, he was.
And he was getting flown in to do his show at the Comedy Festival weekend there in Halifax. We hung around the terminal, like, getting our coffee, taking our time, thought we might get a glimpse of him, but they just had the customs guy, go on the plane, meet him, and then they just put him into his SUV entourage, and away they go. So we didn't see him, so we looked up, see if there was tickets available. There was. Hour later, we're going into the show. As you can see here, they were taking your phones and putting them in those little pouches for you. So we took a quick picture before we went in, and we saw Bill Burr, and he was funny. He really worked the crowd well, and
it was a good show.
He's got a little dark humor, but I like that he says what everybody else thinks. It needs to be said sometimes. All on the table.
All right, so we saw Bill Burr, and that was pretty awesome. And then we went wandering around a little bit more in Halifax that evening. It was super foggy.
Really foggy. It was kind of eerie and very cool, actually,
yeah,
quiet.
It looked really cool.
I think we went and maybe had a drink on the harbor. I can't quite remember. Yeah. And then we were back. We actually stayed at a hotel right by the Stanfield Airport, so we got taxied back out.
We're heading out. We're going to be en route to St. John.
Yep.
And we had to go see we're planning on going to see Peggy's Cove. But when we took off and we were telling Tyler our intentions was just to pass on by and head out to Peggy's Cove, he was like, why don't you take a little tour over the city too? And so he cleared us in to check out the city. That was fantastic.
Yeah, we didn't even think we could do it, so we didn't even ask, and then they offered it, and it's like, oh man. So we flew right along the harbor, saw the whole city downtown of Halifax.
Got to see the Citadel from the air. We saw where we stayed. That part was really great.
Pleasant View Park out there, Pleasant View Point Park, I think the name of it is. It's so beautiful.
We even saw the hippo from the air.
Yeah, that's awesome. If you caught that on your phone.
I did.
Awesome. Yeah, and then it wasn't very long, and we were at Peggy's Cove. I think it was 15, 20 minutes of flight.
Yeah, we just followed along the coast there, some low cloud, and into Peggy's Cove, and that was fantastic. We skipped along the coast. I mean, I think seeing it from the air was better than going there. I kind of was like, oh, I wish we had gone there before we flew past. But when we flew past, I was like, no, that's all I needed.
It's killer.
It was so cool. There was people on the rock. You can see them in our footage.
They're all over the place.
Videoing us.
Yeah.
Videoing them as we go by and taking pictures of us.
Yeah, we're filming them. They're filming us. It's very cool. There were so many people, hundreds of them out there over on the rock, as you can see, and around the lighthouse. So, Peggy's Cove.
Awesome.
Famous Canadian landmark.
Yep. And we kept going along the coast and seeing all those properties around there, the rocky shores. It was so beautiful. So gorgeous out there.
Yeah, there's some beautiful homes out there. People just enjoying their life. And heading pretty hard north at that point, heading up to Bay of Fundy. And then we had to follow along the south shore of Bay of Fundy a little bit to get into the east, so we're not, obviously we weren't going to cross over the widest part of Bay of Fundy. That would be smart, so we
hugged the shore a bit.
Yeah, hugged the shore a bit, then crossed over.
I wanted to see a whale.
Yeah.
But I did not.
That did not
John
happen.
promised me a whale on this journey.
I knew they were down there, but I didn't actually think you'd probably see one.
What?
Yeah.
You lied to me.
It would have been awesome if you could have caught that. See the breach from the sky?
Yeah. One day we'll catch a whale.
I think we have to go out in there when they're hanging out there, their time of the year.
The roads on the other side were really neat to see from the air, how windy they were. I want to bring a motorcycle out and tour that.
That was good road, and then it looked like it had been repaved just in the last few months or something. Like that was pretty fresh. I think it would have been nice with a motorcycle. That would be a nice tour.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got into St. John.
Cab ride in.
Cab ride in. Straight to the hotel.
And
Delta again.
Yeah, we dropped off our bags and got our priorities straight and went out and found a microbrewery.
It was called Big Tide Brewing. It was great.
It was nice. Sea container all customized there. Little patio area on top of it. And you're right across from the harbor in St. John, and then you could see what they're doing. They were spending a lot of money to upgrade that downtown to make it more touristy, friendly, and bring people down to the restaurants and that. I can't wait to go back.
It's going to look amazing.
A year or so, it's maybe a couple of years, it's going to be gorgeous. So.
Yeah.
I'm glad we saw a bit before so we can see the after.
Yeah, I think it's really going to have that Halifax waterfront feel when it's all done there. They've got the breweries and the pubs along there.
Didn't they have some kind of sea container where they have events or something, and they had like a dozen or more of them set up, and it was like
a whole bunch of them, this little town almost, mini town, where they must do like concerts and things maybe.
Yeah, that's what it was. They had a big bandstand set up, and then there was obviously vendors when that place was open and could handle quite a few people.
So here we are on the best viewing deck in all of southern New Brunswick. It makes up one of the coolest parts of the Area 506 waterfront container village. And essentially from here we have the docks, our waterfront container lounge. We've got our stage where we host all kinds of different concerts and entertainment. Well, so it's created this really, really cool vibe for people to come in on a beautiful sunny day, enjoy the waterfront, enjoy the view, and have a cold beverage here at essentially the top of the city of St. John.
We had a huge lobster dinner there as well.
Had a good dinner that night. And we wandered around a little bit and
checked it out.
Checked out the nightlife.
We were doing photo op stuff.
Yep.
We were checking out. We noticed how much the tide actually comes in and out there in just a few hours. It was like 10 feet in no time. And I hadn't witnessed that before in that amount of time, so that was pretty cool.
Next day, started the day right at Java Moose.
Get the coffee!
Coffee. I had an espresso, obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
And then we headed back to the airport for our final journey home.
The last day of our Conquering the East Coast trip.
That's right. We headed back. The plan was to head back into Sherbrooke for fuel, right? So we went over Maine again, stayed a little more south, There's a little more civilization there, not quite as many mountains. Probably the way to do it.
Yeah, we preferred it. I think it's a better route if you're hopping over Maine to go out east. More roads to follow, more towns to follow. Just a better pass through. So,
yep.
Drop down into Sherbrooke again, and you can see they had a bunch of planes out, and we had gotten lobster rolls to go from St. John, so we had that for lunch while we fueled up.
Another in-flight meal? Oh, not quite. We ended up being on the ground.
We were on the ground, but
it was glorious still.
Yeah, say goodbye to the Sherbrooke boys. That's a nice little airport. Perfectly located for what you're doing if you're heading out there.
Yep.
And then our final leg.
Yeah. So we headed back. We were going to go along the coastline into Toronto, and when we got back to Toronto, called up Tower and said we were en route to Brantford, and Tower said, "Oh, really? You think so, do you?" And he's like...
That was the attitude anyway. It was kind of like...
Did you guys see the radar?
Yeah, we're not sure what the weather's like over there.
Yeah, and I was like, yes. I'm quickly looking up the radar, and I was like, oh, that doesn't look very good. So Tower advised us that there was some thunderstorms, some definitely convective lightning activity just over Hamilton and Brantford Way. And as we were coming in, we told him, we're going to press on. It wasn't bad yet. We're going to see what it was like. So he cleared us through, no problem. And as we got to the other side of Toronto there, it was getting pretty bad.
Well, you could see lightning in that.
We could see lightning from the plane. So we changed our plans, as good pilots do. And we picked out Burlington as an alternative and put down into Burlington so we could see what the weather was like.
Yeah, if it was going to get worse or if we had to sit there and let it pass. We were there, I don't know, again, not a long period of time.
10 minutes, 15 minutes.
And it was moving through us, and the heart of the storm was already past us, and it was still just a bit of drizzle and that.
Yeah, it really wasn't all that bad.
It was not crazy winds of any kind, so it was no worse than when we had slid into Burlington. So we took off again and slid the last few minutes into Brantford.
Headed home. Yep.
And we were home in Brantford after a week of gallivanting around the East Coast and
that's right.
Canada.
So there you have it. That's our trip. Join us next time. We're going back in the plane. We'll be getting the GoPros going. We're going to have a lot more exciting footage for you guys. So we look forward to seeing you next time.
See you later.
Next time on Skyboys.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Skyboys. That bad boy on.
Get my energy ready. Okay.